Whatever you do, at the crossroads, don't turn left. This is a quote from Wiffies? From this guy's Minecraft ARG, searching for a world that doesn't exist. This 40-minute video released a couple of months ago and has since skyrocketed in popularity. People have made full-blown animations, fan art, and edits about this ARG. There's even fanfiction. What is it about this Minecraft video that made it so popular? Is this video really just that good? Short answer, yes, it is. Go watch it for yourself and you'll see what I mean. But just what about it makes it so good? What did what did this guy do to make such a successful ARG? Well, let's talk about it. Horror in Minecraft is not a new concept. There are hundreds of horror-themed mods out there. But it's difficult to make Minecraft actually scary. A lot of these mods end up just making a powerful monster that's super fast, super strong, and usually screams a lot. They also typically rely on jump scares to make the mod actually scary. This ends up making a rather cheap experience where you're not actually horrified, just annoyed that you keep dying and keep getting startled. Sure, it can be scary for a bit, and I'm sure you could have some fun with friends, but it gets old after a while. It's the same in a lot of horror videos and movies. It's easy to make your audience gasp or jump by making some horrible, grotesque monster and by having a few jump scares thrown in. Searching for a world that doesn't exist has none of that. No jump scares, unless you count this horror sound. And while there is some sort of entity chasing after the protagonist, we never actually see it. We don't even see a part of it. A popular phrase is that humanity's greatest fear is the unknown, and this ARG uses the unknown to its greatest effect. The threat is introduced to us with a book. We're warned that it's listening, watching, and that we can't outsmart it. From there, we only get signs that it's chasing the protagonist. We hear it following them in the form of footsteps. We see it delete torches, we hear that horror sting, and we hear ominous whispering. It's obvious that there's something in this world, some kind of entity, and it's also obvious that it's intelligent. The protagonist, Durlord, catches on that something's following him really early on, in the cave with the footsteps. Because of that, he starts putting in an effort to hinder the entity. He consistently puts blocks where he just came through, and he sets a trap to confirm if it was able to follow him into the oasis or not. And that trap, or the backup trap, is set off. But even with all of that, it never stops chasing and we never see it. We don't even know what it could be until we get to the village. There, we read this book that talks about how this entity was summoned and that, apparently, it's called the King. But that's the only information we get. Outside of this video, however, it's obvious what this entity is supposed to be. With it being called the King and the existence of the yellow gates, as well as all of the yellow in the village, lots of people have deduced that this entity is the King in Yellow, which comes from a collection of short fiction stories back in the 1890s. The King in Yellow was originally the name of a play which, when read, induced madness. But it's also a supernatural entity that, when seen, forces infinite knowledge into its victim. This, like the play, leads to insanity. But none of that is told to us in the video. This king is left a mystery, and that unknown makes it all the more threatening. We don't know what it's trying to do or why it's following Durlord. We don't even know what it can do. As we're watching this video, our brains are running wild, coming up with theories and ideas of what this entity could possibly be. And at the end of the video, when Durlord turns the corner and we see those massive yellow gates, we think, finally, now we're going to see the monster. But we don't. We never see it. Practically none of our questions are answered, and we're only left with that book in the beginning, the warning. The king is still out there, and we hardly know anything about it. That's unsettling. Leaving the threat to unknown isn't the only thing this video does that makes it so good. The protagonist, Durlord, is also largely responsible. It's a common joke that horror protagonists are idiots. You know, they always say, let's split up in the obviously haunted house, or they go into the dark forest at night, etc., etc. Durlord, on the other hand, is smart. Remember that cave with the footsteps? Well, we don't even know about the footsteps until later. This is because we're so focused on our strange surroundings, mostly since Durlord is pointing it out to us. But by that point, Durlord had already noticed the footsteps. He's just smart enough not to call attention to it. He's pretending not to notice the entity, to lure it into a false sense of security. But that's not the only smart thing he does. He also sets that backup trap with the grass block, again, without saying anything about it. He's also very observant, able to catch the 3 signs in the forest. Even the narrator doesn't notice these things until Durlord points it out in the chat. On top of all of this, what I find the most refreshing with Durlord is that he keeps playing the game like Minecraft. He sets the game mode to peaceful, and he goes around placing blocks and breaking the structures he finds without hesitation. He breaks through that stone gate even after solving the cipher that would supposedly unlock it. It reminds us that we're still in Minecraft. This is just a game after all, and a game can't actually hurt you. But that ends up being Durlord's flaw, his expectation that he couldn't actually be hurt. He could have just turned off the game. He could have just walked away. But he didn't, maybe because of curiosity, but also because he didn't think anything could actually happen to him. All of this, Durlord's intelligence and observance, is refreshing to see in a protagonist, but it also serves to elevate the entity. Even with the traps, even with Durlord immediately noticing the entity, he still loses. This entity still has power over him, and that just makes it all the more threatening. If Durlord is scared, we should be too. So we've got a smart protagonist, and we've got an entity that largely stays unknown but is still very threatening. What else about this video makes it so good? It's the use of silence, the absence of sound. Or in this specific video, the absence of narration. Multiple times throughout this video, there are these long stretches with no narration or dialogue. These sections just have a montage of Durlord exploring whatever new location he's in with music playing over top. The first is in the oasis, the next in the maze, and then the village. When I was first watching this video, whenever the narration stopped and the music played, I found myself relaxing. Maybe it was the music itself, or maybe it was a belief that there wouldn't be any jump scares or plot during a montage. If the narrator wasn't talking to me, then the story wouldn't progress, and I could take a second to breathe. But then we get to the book in the basement. The narrator reads it to us, but after that, he doesn't come back. And this time, it's not relaxing. We're left alone. All we can do is watch Durlord explore further and deeper. All we can do is wait. This moment had me so on edge. When Durlord goes down that tunnel made of mud, an identical one from the one in the beginning, I'm expecting that same horror sting in the whispers, or at least for the torches to go out. But nothing happens. When Durlord goes through the cave and blocks start turning black, I'm waiting for a monster to jump out of the dark. But nothing happens. The tension just rises, and finally the horror sting plays and a strange rustling noise drones on, and then we see them, the yellow gates. Surely this is when we'll see it. This is when we'll finally get some answers. As Durlord stumbles towards them, discordant voices start singing, then wailing, clashing together and grating like nails on a chalkboard as Durlord gets closer and closer, and the voices are getting louder, so this is when it's going to happen. Surely it's going to happen. He's right at the gate, but then the noises stop and... we can't see it. After almost 40 minutes of build-up, with the entity chasing our protagonist, and the traps, and the ciphers and codes, the warnings, and all of these bizarre builds, we get a big black censor bar. When I first watched this video and Durlord turned into the gate, I honestly jumped when that censor bar appeared. It caught me like a jump scare, but it isn't one. Not really. There's no sound, it's just silent, and the bar doesn't jump at the screen or anything. It's just there, blocking the entity. And it sits there for a long time, nearly 30 seconds. We're forced to just stare at it, brains running wild on what it could possibly be. And after, our protagonist runs. Whatever that thing was, it's making this smart, clever protagonist run like his life depends on it. And maybe it does. We don't know. The video finishes up with a neat bow, revealing that Durlord was the one to write that book from the very beginning, and we're left with that same warning. Whatever you do, at the crossroads, don't turn left. I'm not lying when I say this is some of the best horror content I've seen in recent months. Well, I honestly don't watch a whole lot of horror, but this video stuck with me long after I finished it. Long enough to make my own video about it. It's eerie, unsettling, very clever, and a joy to watch. And there are so many details, like how Durlord wrote the crossroads warning 7 times, and throughout the video he turned left 7 times. So it's no surprise this ARG has its own fandom. If you ask me, it definitely deserves it. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing. I'll see y'all around.